Welcome to Workplace Wake Up, your go-to podcast for practical employment law guidance. I'm Jennifer Shaw, the founder of Shaw Law Group, and I'm here to help HR professionals and leaders navigate the legal minefields of the modern workplace. Each week, we tackle real-world issues with clear advice and a little tough love. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. This is an off-cycle podcast about a very important topic. But before we get into that topic, I want to share something I've been developing behind the scenes. For the last several months, I've collaborated with a group of innovators on a new project designed for HR professionals. We're building infrastructure around prevention, consistency, and judgment, giving HR teams practical tools and access to guidance that fits into real-world decision-making, not just moments of crisis. More to come soon. For now, let's talk about new Senate Bill 294, which created the Know Your Rights Act notice. Now, as some of you probably will recall, we do annual legal updates every year where we provide our attendees a summary of laws and court decisions and regulations and all kinds of things for the new year. We just did our last one for 2026, and it was our 26th annual, which I cannot believe. Anyway, putting aside the fact that I now have far more gray hair than I did when I did the first one, we talked yesterday about the Know Your Rights Act notice, which SB 294 requires to be posted, and I'll go into all the requirements in a moment. The interesting thing about it is that the Department of Industrial Relations, the DIR, which of course the Labor Commissioner is under their office, they were required to prepare a template notice, and they did that. It is 4 pages long, actually 5 pages long, lots of information. And originally, I thought it would be a good idea for us all to just use the template. The Labor Commissioner's office has released a lot of documents in the past that we were able to just use the template and go with it. And in this case, they have prepared a very nice document. It has California colors, gold and blue, really nice, lots of pictures, lots of photographs. It's 5 pages long. When I actually went to look at the notice in a little more detail, I realized it included a lot of information that SB 294 does not require. And that's important because if you post the notice the way it is, the first really, 1.5 pages, and then part of some of the other pages really contain information that is not necessary for you to put in this notice. So the notice as written, it's not that it's incorrect. It just has too much information, in my opinion. Now, obviously, this is the kind of thing that you're going to want to decide on your own. You can talk to your team. You can decide how you want to use the template. Remember, you don't have to distribute it until February 1st. You then have to post it for your current employees. You have to provide it to all new employees, and then you have to redistribute it every year. And my concern is that there is so much information in the DIR's document that a lot of the key information gets lost. And it spends, the first 1.5 pages or so talking about how the employer can't retaliate and the employer can't do anything if somebody wants to file a complaint. All things that we already know about and we tell our employees about in our handbook and our other posters, our all-in-one posters about equal employment opportunity and all of that. So the bottom line is, I think this notice has too much information in it. And I think it gives employees the wrong impression. It's almost as if when they see this poster, it's as if the employer has done something wrong. Some of you may be familiar. If you have, for example, an OSHA violation, and sometimes this will happen with Cal OSHA or with an equal employment opportunity issue, maybe the Civil Rights Department or the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission gets involved. And what you will see is that the employer is required to post a notice, and it's basically what I call a mea culpa notice, right? It's, oh my gosh, we made a boo-boo, we're sorry, we're going to fix it. That is the tone of this DIR notice, in my opinion, but you have done nothing wrong, right? This notice is simply in response to SB 294, which is really focused on this idea that employees have some constitutional rights when it comes to interacting with law enforcement in the workplace. This is all in response to what's going on with immigration right now. And certainly after what happened in Minneapolis yesterday with the shooting during the ICE raid, this is all very fresh information and very painful stuff for everyone to be talking about. But I am concerned that if you post the notice as it is written, you are going to actually be creating problems in your workplace, and employees are not going to really understand what their rights actually are because they get buried in this 5-page document. So what I recommend you do instead is sit down with the notice and make sure that you have a document that has your letterhead and your tone, right? Your open, transparent tone with your employees, that you are giving them this notice because you want to give them this notice because it's the right thing to do to give them this notice. You're not hiding anything. I think we just need to put something together that is very transparent. Now, I'm going to be doing something that will be helpful. And certainly if you are on our blog list, you will get a copy of it. So if you're not signed up to receive our blogs, make sure you go to our website and sign up for the blog. And then in the next day or so, I'll be sending out some sort of a template that you all will be able to use. But I want to make sure that you understand why this is so important. When you read this notice, I think you're really going to understand that it just doesn't come across, in my opinion, with the right tone. And I am in no way criticizing the DIR. They were timely, which is fantastic. We were all hoping to get something in advance so we could make sure that we got the document in time to look at it and carefully review it and make sure that we got it distributed. So that is fantastic. They did a wonderful job meeting their deadline. I would just like to see the document done a little bit differently. I think it'll be much more powerful to your employees if you do. So to recap, SB 294 requires that you post a notice. It's called the Know Your Rights Act notice. It has to be posted by February 1. You have to give the document individually to each of your employees. If you have employees who do not speak English as their first language, you should be putting it in a different language. You can certainly get it translated pretty easily through AI, but make sure that whatever you create, you do provide it in the languages that your employees speak. And I do recommend that you create your own notice. As I said, I will have a document on our blog in the next couple of days that you will be able to use. So everybody, here's the deal. You need to prepare something different than the template notice. That's what I'm telling you, in my opinion. Of course, you can do whatever you wish, but after carefully reviewing the notice and carefully reviewing the text of SB 294, I think it's important for us to tweak the notice a bit, and I will be doing that and making it available on our blog for you in the next couple of days. So again, if you're not signed up on the blog, please make sure you do. Otherwise, it's just important to meet with your team, let them know what's going on with SB 294, and make sure that you have a notice that you are comfortable with, a notice that encompasses your culture in your organization and really makes clear that you have an open door for folks who have questions about any of these issues and that you are happy to answer anything that they may be concerned about. I just think it's really important because of what's going on right now with immigration and all of the understandably very strong feelings in this area. So thank you for letting me interrupt your week on a Thursday when we do not usually post. But I thought this is important enough that I did not want to wait until next week. So as always, everyone, thank you so much for your time and attention. Happy New Year. Happy 2026. I will definitely see you for next Wednesday's podcast. In the meantime, go out and do something nice for someone, and I'll see you soon. Workplace Wake Up, including our guests and hosts, do not provide legal advice in this podcast. Do not act upon any of the information discussed in this podcast without first consulting a licensed attorney in your jurisdiction. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Workplace Wake Up. If you found today's discussion helpful, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share the podcast with your HR and leadership teams. For more insights, training programs, and legal updates, you can visit us at shawlawgroup.com.